I'm so sad to see this go. I am so sad to see Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works finally go. This feels like a great epilogue. This was a great epilogue for me as an anime only. Regardless of what anyone says about this episode, I truly love this conclusion. And I know there's more to it because, the Heaven's Feel, Fate Khalid coming out next season stuff. Just this right here. I'm so sad to see this series go because it has been so fun. Not just sitting down and watching, but being able to make these long reviews and just talk about it and discuss with fellow Chibits in the comments just about things going down, do theories, just so much different things to talk about. It's been so fun sitting down and reviewing this series and watching this series and discussing it with everybody. I mean, it's been a series I think a lot of us are really going to miss. Like, I think the people that probably did not like this season, probably did not like it too much, or they just are like, it's okay. I think eventually, one day down the road, they're probably going to look back at Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works and look at it like, I do miss that damn series. I know something's going to be asking for that, because it's rare to get a series like Fate. For instance, a series with this type of production value and a story like it was given to us as a viewer. It's a rarity. It is, and I can't wait to finally sit down and see, Heaven's Feel when it finally comes out in movie format. And as I promised a long time ago, I will be reading the visual novel. I have the visual novel. Chibi sent me an actual physical copy of the visual novel. I will be starting it very, very, very soon. And I can't wait to see, how Fate is done. But before I talk about visual novel, which I'll say for the ending part of this video, let's talk about Fate in general, before I dive into, this episode discussion, just talk about this episode, or I guess this video is just going to be, this episode review, and also my final thoughts on the Fate anime. I guess that's the best way to really describe this episode, or this, video. So, Fate, in general, as a series, it's a hit-or-miss series for a lot of people. It's a series that not everybody's going to enjoy, and it's not a series that everybody's going to say is 10 out of 10 amazing, or, great quality. Not everybody's going to say that. I mean, everybody has their different opinions and viewpoints. And that's the beauty of being in the anime community, because everybody has different things they like and different things they hate. And Fate is one of those type of series that has garnered a lot of attention throughout the time it has been airing since the first part of it came out in, Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works Part 1. And it's had a lot of attention focused on it from so many people. I mean, there's been so many different, viewpoints and fan bases throughout the series while it's been airing that it's rather insane for an anime series. I mean, you gotta admit, when it comes to anime that gets talked about a lot, when it comes down to anime that really just have so much community talking about it almost all the time, Fate is definitely one of those series. Everybody was talking about it. Like it, hate it, whatever. Everybody was pretty much talking about Fate while it was airing, and it's sad to see that we might not get, Heaven's Feel for a while now, because if you think about it, we gotta wait for the movies to come out in Japan. When the movies come out, we gotta wait about maybe 6 to 7 or even 8 months until the movie gets translated. And judging by how Heaven's Feel is such a big route in the Fate verse, I'm willing to bet that it's going to be multiple movies. That means we're probably going to have maybe, 2 to 3 movies of Heaven's Feel. So the Type Moon focuser, Type Moon made this, route so damn big that it requires that many movies. But I think Ufotable's probably going to make multiple movies. Judging by what they did with Karno Kyokai, I think they'll probably make multiple movies for Heaven's Feel. And so even then, that means we're going to have to wait, years to finally conclude the Heaven's Feel in anime format if it does have multiple parts. So it's going to suck having to wait. It really is going to suck. I mean, I can wait for quality. I can wait for quality like this, especially because of these production values I have witnessed throughout me reviewing this series. I can definitely wait for quality. It's sad to see because it's just so rare to get an anime like this. And it makes me upset personally because if anyone knows, I have a lot of passion for the Type Moon series. I have a lot of passion for these series. I mean, even though I haven't read the visual novel and stuff, and I mean, I'm not the best, well-versed person to, the Type Moon verse, I still am very passionate about this series. And it makes me sad I'll have to wait, but at the very least, I'm glad we have Fate Khalid that's going to be, coming out next season. I'm looking forward to that quite a bit. I mean, finally, you know, the third season's coming around. I can't wait to actually see that because, I mean, we're not completely done with Fate. Maybe, you know, that will tide us over until Heaven's Feel gets translated for us and we can sit down and, you know, watch that. Now, I want to briefly talk about something. Supposedly there was a teaser at the end of this Fate episode. Like, there's supposed to be a teaser of Heaven's Feel. I saw some, you know, comments and discussion about it. But my, you know, Crunchyroll didn't have it. For some reason, Crunchyroll did not have my Heaven's Feel teaser at the end of it. I saw the stuff after the ending credits. You know, when it says end, it pops up with the black screen. It says end. That's as far as my video went. So I don't know if there's anything after that, or if that scene was supposed to be a teaser for Heaven's Feel. But regardless of that, I'll have to see it after. I'll have to look it up after I'm done with this review. Point still stands, though. I truly have enjoyed sitting down and actually just talking about this. So what does this finale truly mean? Like, in the grand scheme of things, what does this finale of Unlimited Blade Works truly mean to us as the viewer? Does it answer everything? No, because Fate has 3 routes. 3 routes. The Fate route, the Unlimited Blade Works route, and then Heaven's Feel route. So, of course, the Unlimited Blade Works route is not going to answer all of our questions. And even then, it's still not going to answer all of our questions because there's so many other different visual novels and games to the Fate and Type Moon verse that you need to read or watch all of them or whatever to be able to understand everything. Like, they got Fate Extra, they got, let's say, Fate Strange Fake, they got Fate Zero. I mean, there's just so many different paths with this series. That's not even counting, you know, Karno Kyokai and stuff like that. So, of course, not all the questions are going to be answered with Unlimited Blade Works. That's very obvious. So we shouldn't really expect that when it comes to a series that's adapted from a visual novel that has multiple routes and different endings. So we can't really expect that. But in the terms of what this series set out to do, like, you know, Unlimited Blade Works, what it set out to do, not for the grand scheme of everything being answered, did Unlimited Blade Works offer us a proper conclusion for our MC Amiya and wrap up what he was trying to accomplish throughout this series? Personally, yes, because I've already went over in depth many times through me reviewing this. I even went in depth, you know, with how Gilgamesh went down, but some were still confused of how Gil died last week's episode when I thoroughly explained that multiple fucking times throughout my multiple episode reviews, and some still didn't realize Gil was going to get defeated. It was very obvious, but that happens. But moving on. Thing is, okay, did Amiya get his closure? Yes, he got his closure because he is down a path. He's going down a path that he still wanted to go down. He wants to be a hero of justice. He still wants to be a hero of justice. He hasn't given up that path, but he's on a path that might end up the same way as Archer, but most likely it's going to be different because this time around he has Rin sitting there beside him, supporting him, which goes along with what Archer asked Rin to do, watch over me, you know, and stuff like that, and Rin is watching over Amiya throughout his entire life. She's following him around, trying to help him out, making sure he goes down the proper path where he doesn't go down a path where he'll fuck himself over and die a gruesome death and he regrets everything and he, you know, wants to kill his own self. That's kind of what Rin is there for. She's kind of like the counterbalance that's trying to stop, you know, Amiya from going down a bad path. And Amiya already, though, I've already explained many times of why he probably won't go down Archer's path, because he already saw his hypocritical ideals. He already saw how hypocritical they were before his death. You know, Archer saw it after his death, and then he got broken because of his ideals. And, you know, Amiya's already overcame something like that Archer didn't overcome. So Amiya's already down a path that's completely different. And it makes him go down a path that eventually will achieve his ideal, his goal, in a different way. But judging by the way it was said is that there's a good possibility that Amiya might end up the same way as Archer. Like, not turn into, like, a heroic spirit, but die the exact same way. Getting betrayed, stabbed by his own, you know, accused, and, you know, killed. He might end up the same way. And, you know, he says even if it does, even if he goes down that path, he's going to try to go further than Archer did. Like, you know, after his death or, you know, anything. He's going to try to go down a path that's better than what Archer lived. And that's kind of the closure there, which makes me really happy to see, especially with, you know, Rin's closure as well. I mean, she pretty much announced to Amiya that they're a couple. Like, that's what was pretty much announced to us. Like, Amiya and Shiro, which was very obvious that they would get together, it was kind of, told to us that they're a couple now, they're girlfriend, boyfriend, they're going to get married eventually because the way they're acting, and they'll probably have little babies and children. So, that's good. I'm glad, Amiya got the girl, he got Ren got with Amiya, and they're together, and they're going to be traveling and sticking with each other for the rest of their lives and having fun. Makes me very happy. Good closure for Amiya and Ren. I was very happy to see a couple of characters in this, like Waver and Luvia from, Fate Khalid. I was really happy to see those, characters make an appearance in this episode. Like, I did not expect to see Luvia in this episode, with Ren, with her arguments and stuff. I didn't expect that. I really didn't, because I'm like, oh my god, dude, she's fake lead. Like, oh, that makes me so fucking happy just to see her. I was like, dude, I love their little fucking bickering. I love it. So I was glad she made an appearance. I've been Waver, too. That's actually something I want to discuss real quick. If people, let's say, are Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Work only watchers, for instance, if you started the Type Moon franchise, this series, through Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works, and you, started this, and you were to see that moment in this episode with the dude, the dude that looks like a teacher walks up to Emmy and asks him, why is he here, what does he want to do and stuff, nobody really would know him. If you started with Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works, you wouldn't. I know who he is because I watched Fate Zero, but you wouldn't know that person, and majority of viewers, I think, that started with this series, would just fly over their fucking head. They'd be like, who the fuck is this that was just done in this episode? And once again, this goes back to the controversial topic of, is it really right to start with Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works, a photable anime adaptation? I'm not talking about visual novel, throw that out the fucking window. Is it really proper to start with Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works anime adaptation, judging by the way some of these scenes were done throughout this anime series? Because I've been told from visual novel readers that there's been a lot of scenes that's been added into this that is anime original. For instance, anime original content that links with Fate Zero. And obviously Ufotable, was connecting into Fate Zero because they know majority of their watchers probably started watching Fate through Fate Zero because they jumped on ship and then they carried over to Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works because, Fate Zero came out fucking first. Of course, people are going to watch that first because it was years out before Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works. So that's the main point I want to get at. People that start with this series, this anime series, would not understand Waver. They wouldn't understand certain key things, with what was going on with Gilgamesh, with his flashbacks, with Saber, and different things like that. It makes me really question a lot how these anime-onlys from this series would feel about this conclusion. With certain things, it would leave you in mysteries, but this goes back to the point I talked about earlier. Fate Stay Night is not going to answer everything. Unlimited Blade Works will not answer everything, because there's so many different routes. There's so many damn routes out there that you need to read them all or watch them all to understand everything. And so that goes back to the main point of topic. I mean, it really comes down to what you want to start with. I think that's what it is, and I'm going to get my neck slit because I know everybody's like, you gotta start with that fucking visual novel. Start with that visual novel. I understand. Visual novel's good. But, I mean, some want to just, watch the anime, and I'm just looking at a way as how would you start the anime format. And, I mean, some would say watch Fate Stay Night 2006, but that is a piss poor anime adaptation by Studio Dean, and it wasn't, that properly animated either, even in terms of nowadays. It wasn't that good animated. I mean, look at the CGI fucking dragon. It's just stuff like that. And nobody, I think, wants to go back to watch Fate Stay Night 2006, because after you see Unlimited Blade Works and then go to Fate Zero and stuff, I don't think majority of anyone wants to go back to see a series that looks that old or whatever, judging by the quality we have seen in production value from Fate Zero and Unlimited Blade Works. So that goes back to the big point. Which series would you start with? I mean, with this conclusion, you really don't know, because there's a lot of things from both sides, from, Fate Zero to this that you wouldn't understand in whichever one you started with, and of course Fate Zero spoils a lot of Heaven's Feel, as I've been told. So, you win some, you lose some. I mean, Heaven's Feel anime is not out yet, and as I've said many times in my fucking reviews, nobody wants to read. The majority of people nowadays don't want to sit down and read a visual novel that can take 50 plus hours or even longer than that just to sit down and read. Nobody wants to do that. It's the cold hard truth. Nobody wants to sit down and read a long visual novel that long. I will do it, but not many people want to do that. And so of course they're going to want to watch an anime format. So they're eventually just going to look at the anime that's available to them. They're going to look at Fate Zero, Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works, Fate 2006, and they're going to look at Fate Khalid in Kano Kyokai. That's the anime that majority of anime onlys or people that want to get into Type Moon are going to look at. And so since Heaven's Feel is not out, of course, people are going to jump ship onto, Fate Zero as soon as Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works is over. If they started with Unlimited Blade Works, they're going to go to Fate Zero because they're going to want to continue watching this quality. That's human nature. So you lose some, you win some. Now, getting into other points, talking about this, okay? Getting back into the episode review of Fate Stay Night. When it came to some of the things, though, in this, conclusion, it was kind of like just wrapping up, giving the final closure to Rin and Amiya. And you also get to see a scene that was very heart-touching with Amiya going to the grave of Saber. Amiya Shiro going to the grave of Saber and just sitting there saying his goodbyes. And that was a very heart-touching scene, a very sweet scene. And it makes me so sad, it really does, because at the end of the day, Saber is dead. King Arthur is dead. Makes me sad. It really does, just to know that, and, to see her in the grave. Tragic. It's fucking tragic. Now, from what we see, Amiya Shiro is continuing to train his magic. He's constantly using projection, making swords through himself, because he's like a blacksmith, as he said, in last week's episode. He's constantly making weapons. And you can see that because right at the beginning of the episode, we kind of find out there was a 2-year time skip, and he constantly continues to make weapons one after another. Like, we saw a different variety of weapons. Some looked like Aztec weapons, some looked like assassin-type weapons. I mean, there's all sorts of different century weapons that Amiya was making, and you can see that. You can actually see that in the beginning of this episode. So obviously Shiro is continuing to make weapons, train himself daily on a daily basis for 2+ years. He's still doing it, and it just shows you his determination to get stronger, get better. And I mean, it's cool. It's very cool. I think I'm really sad right now because once I'm done with this video, I'm pretty much fucking done. I'm done with Unlimited Blade Works. I can wrap it up and just, it's done. Tell me your thoughts. I mean, how does everybody feel about Unlimited Blade Works? I mean, what would you rate this? Like, I'm too biased, honestly. I'm way too biased to really rate Fate, like, in a critical format. I think I'm way too biased to this series to just give a true rating. So I'm not even going to give it a rating. I'll rate it on Mal, but that's my enjoyment value, but I'm too biased to really give a critical rating for Fate. I couldn't do it. I couldn't, because I love this series too much. I love it way too much. And it's so enjoyable to sit back and just watch it weekly. Like when I was watching it, it was just too fun. So I can't really give it a rating. Like, let's say, like a 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 2 out of 10. I wouldn't rate it that fucking low. Fuck no. But the point I'm getting at is, I can't. But, what would you all rate it? Like, what would you, Chibits, rate Fate Stay Night? What would you give this series? I know it's had its flaws. It's had its flaws. It's had its ups and downs. It's had some derps sometimes. I have noticed some derps when it comes to certain CGI moments. But, it's nothing terrible. And at the end of the day, did we get entertainment? Did we get our entertainment? Obviously, I did. I got my entertainment. I walked into this series knowing it wasn't going to be a battle shonen. I walked into this series knowing it was going to be a clash of ideals and a lot of dialogue. I walked into the series expecting that because I know how Type Moon is when it comes to Fate. So, I wasn't disappointed. I got my entertainment. I got the stuff I seeked when I started this series. I got to see my badass archer kick some fucking ass. I got to see Gil get his fucking hand cut off and die a pathetic fucking death by a headshot, which is badass. And then you got to see, just so many different epic things, especially like Kuritsugu to Waver appearing in this episode. I mean, there's been so many good moments. So many damn good moments, like Berserker and Gilgamesh fight. Clash of Ideals, of the ideals of Archer versus Shiro. Very good scene. I love it all. I really do. I don't think there's been an episode really of Fate that's really disappointed me. I don't think there has. But that's my bias talking. I'm fucking biased as fuck when it comes to the series. So, yeah. So, I'm going to end it here. I've had fun. I'm going to start the visual novel very soon. I think I will review the visual novel. I'm not going to do any Let's Plays or anything, but I think I will review the visual novel and talk about specific points in the visual novel that the anime didn't show or stuff I didn't realize when I was watching the anime. I plan on making videos of Fate Stay Night, like, you know, when I read the visual novel, and I do plan on reading ahead of Heaven's Feel. For instance, I do plan on reading the visual novel of Heaven's Feel before I finish the movie saga, if there's going to be multiple movies. I plan on doing that. So, just pre-warning everybody. I do know there is a manga of Heaven's Feel out right now. I think there's like 2 chapters out right now. I might read that. I might read that, depending. I might read that very soon. Can anyone let me know how the manga of Heaven's Feel is? Like, is the manga that's currently coming out right now, is it being adapted properly? Is it shit? I mean, I know when it comes to manga adaptations of certain things, usually they cut out a lot of fucking details. And so if anyone can let me know, how is the manga adaptation of Heaven's Feel that's currently coming out? Because if it's good, I might actually review it. Whatever schedule release it is. Like, if it comes out monthly, weekly, whatever, I might, you know, review it. But comes down to how it is and how the adaptation of it is, so please let me know on that regard. And I guess I will see you all in the next Fate video I make, either on Fate Stay Night or Fate Khalid. That'll be coming out this next upcoming season. I'll see y'all then. Fate greatness, everybody. Let's say goodbye to a wonderful, wonderful series. Please be safe. Chibi out.